Okay, when it talks to me, we're ready. Good morning, everybody, from Fellowship of Spirit in Farmington, New Mexico, and this beautiful November day. It's finally fall around here. We even had a little bit of winter, so we're very happy to be caught up in our weather. We don't have any guests, but welcome everybody who is here that's with us today. And we have only one general announcement, I think, is the solstice on the 21st of December. Try to remember that. We'll be sending out information on it in the next couple of weeks. And if you would like to have a copy of the questions from the dreaming session last Sunday, let me know and I will be glad to send them to you. We got a good response from them, and so we'll be discussing those at a later date. We're actually thinking about the possibility of having a town hall meeting instead of a talk on the second Sunday in December. So we will further let you know how that is progressing. I think that is about it. So we have our prelude by Margaret Cheeseborough, Faith is Like a Child by Tom Fanke. Thank you, Margaret. Okay, Susan, you will give us our opening prayer.
Good morning, everyone. It's such a beautiful day out today. Blue skies, little white clouds. Okay, so feeling the wonderful weather that we all have. Take a deep breath in, close your eyes, and feel that energy, that divine love flowing through you in every way. Creator, Mother, Father, God, we give thanks for this day, for all the wonderful gifts that have been given to us, for our opportunity to once more join together to express the love, the joy, all the good things that have come to us this week. We give thanks for all of the food we have to eat, for the warm houses that we have, for our fireplaces, for the hot water, for everything. Things that we take for granted. We give thanks for our good health, and we give thanks knowing that you are taking care of all of those who are in need of healing, of a change in their health status. We give thanks for our ability to think, to act, be able to discern all of the things that we need in order to live a better life, to accept all of the things that are happening in our lives and knowing whether we judge them as good or bad, that ultimately there is only one answer, and that is all things are meant for our good health, our good way of being, our good thoughts, just for being here alive. All things work together for our highest good, and we give thanks for that. For all of these things and all the things that we have not thought of, we do truly give thanks. Namaste.
Namaste. And so it is. Thank you, Susan. Well, I forgot which one it was. Replays. Oh. Okay, there we go. I just can't really see it, it's very tiny. Anyway, I'm Jerry Lard, and Ron is out ill today. He is feeling better this morning, so please keep him in your prayers for getting better and having a good, healthy week. And so I would like to continue on. Margaret has our song now, We Stand on Holy Ground in the Binder.
We stand on holy ground. We stand on holy ground. Wherever on this earth we stand on holy ground. This is a sacred land. This is a sacred land. Wherever on this earth we stand, this is a sacred land. We cherish all that lives. We cherish all that lives. Wherever on this earth we stand, we cherish all that lives. Within the web of life, within the web of life, wherever on this earth we stand, within the web of life.
Beautiful. Thank you, Margaret. If you will read along with me in your bulletins or have our reflective moment. Love produces a flow of energy that I now feel. I love others more than ever, and I feel privileged to be here. Love flows from one person to another as I create an atmosphere of holiness. So it is. And that's by our beloved Midge, who's left us. We have a spiritual reading by Steve, our own Steve Barker.
Good morning, everyone. This spiritual reading was provided by my best buddy, and it's from a lady named Carol Howe, which I don't know much about, but she has a website. And Maybe I can put that in the text of our Zoom meeting today. So here's how it goes. Greetings to all of you. With the election finally over, the reactions and the results range from delight, celebration, and excitement to dread, sorrow, and regret. So wherever you might be on this spectrum, we must remember an essential rule we all live by, whether we know it or not, or like it or not, and that is that our thoughts create our reality, our daily experience for good or ill. Since many of us were not taught this in our earlier days, it might seem fanciful or esoteric, but it actually is the way life works. The nature and content of our thoughts is constantly, moment by moment, creating our worldly experience. The circumstances of our lives are a mirror to the state of mind, challenging as our thoughts change. Now, the great news is that you get to experiment with this yourself to prove the point. Most of us grew up with the notion that our thoughts are private. No one knows what they are, and they don't really have anything to do with daily life. Nothing could possibly be further from the truth. Our thoughts create the blueprint for our lives down to the last detail. Loving thoughts allow life to move smoothly. We are guided to give our gifts as best we can. Intuition functions. We have everything we need. Good fortune seems to drop in our laps. Problems of all kinds vanish, and meaningful help is ever present. On the contrary, blaming ourselves, wishing others ill, defending against our presumed attack from others, looking for what's wrong, and adopting the notion that you and or others are guilty is guaranteed to put one obstacle, difficulty, pain, or lack after another into your life. We cannot outrun or escape from the consequences of the constant stream of our all-powerful thoughts. They are constantly translated into life's details. So we must change them to assure our happiness, safety, peace of mind, and opportunity to give our gifts. Nothing in the past needs to be undone because it's already gone. The past is not stored anywhere, and only this moment matters. So in this new, clean moment, make the choice for following your intuition or guidance and choose to be truly helpful. Then watch your life unfold happily and safely. It's all your choice, and no one else has a vote. Everyone else is a player in the drama you write, not an author. And it is true for every one of us forever. Wishing you the very best, Carol and Robert. And this kind of echoes what we were studying in our book study this morning, which is no coincidence, of course. And I'm sure that is a prelude to what Susan is going to talk about in a little bit. So, thank you
so much, Steve. Words of wisdom. I like those. And you know what? That's one of the things that I have learned over the years, to live in this moment only. And to try to be of service to people. When the need arises, it's so easy to say, well, maybe I can't right this minute, but I can in a few minutes or later today or tomorrow or whenever, because a lot of times people don't want something instantly. They just want your help in whatever it needs, at some point. And that's all we need to remember, is that when somebody asks, to try to figure out if we can truly be helpful in that way. So thank you very much for that reminder. Okay, we have a song from Margaret. It is page 71 in the brown binder. Open my eyes that I may see. now, I would like to welcome our dear Susan Barnes from Belize, who is gladly with us through the miracle of Zoom and technology and AI, of course. And without her, we wouldn't be here because she was very instrumental in getting fellowship started. And we are thankful that we can still share with her and have her share words of wisdom with us. So please welcome Susan Barnes.
Oh, Jerry, thank you. And you're right. I am so thankful for Zoom because I really enjoy just being with you all. And yes, was it you or was it Steve that said my talk? Yes, there are no coincidences. All of us are talking about the same thing ultimately, and that is love. However, what I'd like to do is talk about what's the opposite of love. And at first, we might say hate. And when we explore more, especially if we're reading the Course, which I know a lot of you have read Course in Miracles, and of course, that's my spiritual path, definitely, that you'll find that it says the opposite of love is fear. But, before we go that way, let's look at what is love. And so, really, the definition of love goes way beyond that. We're talking not lust, not excitement that we experience when we first become infatuated with someone, because all that fades away. And what really remains is authentic love, or a balance that we are seeking. And what is the prime example of all this? It's the love and to love God as He loves us, to extend the caring that defines our very creation outward, wherever, whenever we can. And love of this nature leads us to forget about our own ego, which we know often leads us down a different path. So what we desire for ourselves, even more for another. And how this act of creation seems to work. You realize that our Creator doesn't ask anything from us in exchange for giving us this life. And it's given freely, abundantly, and absolutely no one is excluded. And we don't have to repay God for giving us this life, or the air that we breathe, or the water that we drink for our existence, or the sun that sustains us. And without any of those freely given ingredients, it would be very, very hard for us to live. And that is the love that God offers us. So to balance out our lives with more love, we need to match our thoughts and our behaviors with those of our Creator, with our Source. We need to be love in the way that God is. And this means noticing that when we're judging ourselves and or any others, as though either we, and we often do this to ourselves, or that they are unworthy of any kind of love. So this means suspending our need to be right in favor of being kind towards ourselves and others. And I know Jerry says that all the time. Course says that. Would you rather be happy or would you rather be right? Let's be happy. And no one, absolutely no one, is unworthy of love. So we have to give love to ourselves and others rather than demanding love. That means our loving gesture of kindness is heartfelt because we feel that love flowing from within, not because we want something in return. Do you think that's a tall order? Not really, unless we believe that it's going to be difficult. Now we have to understand this is a mental universe, and it's a simulation that we built, and we are not prisoners of anyone else except ourselves, of our beliefs. And our consciousness can only expand to the limits of the cage of our own belief systems. So what do? We have to remind ourselves that God created us in perfect love. And this love is changeless and it's eternal. Now our bodies change. Our minds may change. But we're not this body or this mind. We are created as a spirit that is pure love. And so this is where we want to keep our attention focused. Because love knows no bodies and it reaches to everything created like itself. All spirits. Think of people you know who give love in response to negative energy that's directed their way. And so there aren't many people who respond lovingly into a negative situation. These are ones that are able to give in a loving way. They have the love to give away. And they know that it's impossible to give away what they don't have. And they've gone that extra mile to acquire what it is that they want to both attract and give away. What are we giving out to the universe? What are we attracting? Okay, so we can't give away what we don't have. We can change our lives by changing the way what's going on inside of us, by changing our minds. My computer's yelling at me. So low energy attracts low energy. Thoughts such as anger, hate, shame, guilt, fear, those all weaken us and they attract more of the same. So by changing our inner thoughts to the higher frequencies of love, of harmony, kindness, peace, joy, yes, we attract more of the same. And we will have more of these energies to give away. Love is a feature of our natural state. And our ego is not part of that state. Ego seems to dominate because we've separated. Get that? We've separated ourselves from our God self, the loving self that came here from a place of perfectly divine, unconditional love. We have carried this ego idea of our own self-importance, our need to be right, for so long that we have deluded ourselves into believing that this ego self is who we really are. Now that's being out of balance because we've opted for a belief in pure illusion. And we've allowed this illusion to be the dominant force. And we have created through our ego self a heavy imbalance in our lives. So we really want to feel love, the real thing, the love, that very essence of our being, love that we are. But sometimes we feel emptiness instead of lovingness. And why is this so? Because the emptiness can only be filled with love by opening our heart connection to the spirit of love that originates. And we may not know from where, but it can be felt within us. It's that empty space. It's no one else's. And therefore, because it is our empty space, we're the only ones that can fill us. No one else is going to fill that space with love. So what we want to know, what we want to do is ask the love that is within us to make its presence known. And we need to have this awareness of being so full of love that this is what we have to give away. And that's all we have to do. We ask and we receive. And by doing just that, we're going to attract more of what we are giving away, the love. So, first of all, to begin to change what's inside of us, we must become more loving towards ourselves. In our thoughts, we need to cultivate an inner voice and attitude that's 100% on our team. So just imagine this inner self, okay, that only supports and loves us. So, you might want to schedule a certain time of day when that's the only thought that you allow yourselves to pay attention to. And gradually, this loving attitude will extend to other people, and we'll begin to receive this energy back, and ultimately to be able to send thoughts of love and joy to everyone and everything in this world. Let us make a pact to remind ourselves often of this secret of not being able to give away anything that we don't have. And then we're going to work on our personal program of self-love, self-respect, and self-empowerment, and create a huge inventory of what we wish to give away. And if we give what we give, our self-respect and self-love, the universe returns this love and respect that we have been radiating. And it's really that simple. Okay, so now if we're not receiving that love that we desire, maybe we need to explore the idea of what's creating this state. So maybe we want to place the blame for our lovelessness on something external. Okay, that's a waste of time and energy, but it feels good because, we can blame somebody else for our pain. But the blame energy only helps us to remain out of balance. Whether we're blaming ourselves or someone else, it's being in balance and being centered around the premise that we receive in life what we are aligned with. So we've read it enough times, we've heard it enough times that know that we get exactly what we think about. So while we may judge our loveless state with thoughts of being unappreciated or choose to see the whole world as an unloving place, the fact remains that we're experiencing that imbalance of not feeling good because we don't have enough love in our lives. And I find it very interesting that I'm talking about balancing our lives with that love of giving and receiving, because of course what I do is traditional Chinese medicine. And the way to heal is all about bringing our lives into balance, whether it's from what I do or from what I'm telling you right now. So waiting for others to change or for some kind of shift to take place in the world to restore us to balance, it's not going to work. Not without our commitment to take responsibility for changing our way of thinking. And if that's left to others, we'll turn the control of our lives over to someone or something outside of us. And that, my dear, is a prescription for disaster. Okay, so what I want to emphasize here is that if you have feelings of being shortchanged in the love dimension that should be part of our lives, then it's because we have chosen to align our thoughts and behaviors with lovelessness. So how do we do that? By failing to match our desire for love with thoughts that harmonize with this powerful desire. So what are some of those thoughts? Well, I've never been able to sustain a loving relationship. Well, I'm not really attractive enough to have someone love me in the way I want to be loved. Oh, people are cruel and they take advantage of me. I just see hostility and anger everywhere. And this is an uncaring world with a shortage of love. Well, if you keep thinking thoughts like that, that's exactly what you're going to get back. And this is out of balance, way out of balance with this desire to receive abundant love. So because we attract into our lives precisely what we're thinking about. So we have inadvertently joined the club of lovelessness with a membership that includes a majority of the entire population. People who feel shortchanged about the amount of love that's failing to pour into their empty hearts. And all of this is reversible by shifting our alignment and removing the resistance to that fulfillment of our desire for love. So we begin by ending our search for love to balance our lives with more lovingness. We need to match our thoughts and behaviors with those of our source, our creator. We need to be that love. Just as I said before, we need to be the love in the same way that God is love, not asking for anything in return. And that means noticing, when are we inclined to judge ourselves and others as though we or they are unworthy of love? And this means suspending our need to be right in favor of being kind towards ourselves and others. And I would almost say more towards ourselves, because it's ourselves that we are judging. And that's what I will be leading up to, because the opposite of love is judging. Okay, so love is a feature of our natural state, and our ego is not part of that. And so we have this idea that we need to be right. And we don't. So we're not here to escape this world. We need to awaken spiritually so that we can free ourselves. And this is part of the spiritual law of one. It's a part of the balancing act. We come here on this planet to master ourselves. And the whole purpose, what is your purpose of this universe, is to manifest that love. So, first of all, notice each day, are you choosing to live in fear or love? Because fear keeps us disconnected from the loving presence inside of us. Remember what it says, even in the Bible. Perfect love casts out all fear. But causing fear is a tactic of the ego, whether it be our ego or the world's ego. And of course, the world's ego is just a reflection of our individual ego and how much fear we want to take into ourselves. And fear is present when we forget that we are part of God's divine design. So we need to learn to experience that authentic love. And this means we have to abandon the ego's insistence that we have so much to fear and that we're in an unfriendly world. And I really find this so much in the people who come and they say, well, you know, I'm a good Christian and I believe in all this. And I said, but you have fear. And if you have that fear, you've just thrown God out. And it makes them think. However, we can make that decision to be free from fear and doubt and to return to that brilliant light of love that's really, it's always with us. It's who we really are. We need to be that change that we want to see. And when we change the way we look at things, the things that we look at all change. And we heal ourselves from within, not from others or not from looking outwards. Many of us fear change and all the risks that it carries. However, almost anything that's significant involves change. So our soul wants to expand and to grow. So when we stay with the familiar, just because it's familiar, we are responding to a fear of failure that doesn't support our growth. If we believe that wherever we are, it will work out in a positive, kind, and loving way, we can see opportunities. However, if we believe that it won't work out, we're going to see only obstacles. Let's consider the radical idea. What if there's no such thing as failure? Failing is a judgment that we as humans place on a given action. And rather than judgment, let's substitute this attitude. We cannot fail. We can only produce results. And then the most important question to ask ourselves is, so what do we do with the results that we're producing? So it's better to jump in and experience life than to stand on the sidelines fearing that something might go wrong. So there is the importance of feeling fear, acknowledging it rather than pretending it isn't there. because then we can say that what our heart and soul are telling us to do. So some 2,300 years ago, or somewhere around there was a spiritual master, Patanjali, and he said, when you are inspired by some great purpose, some extraordinary project, all your thoughts break their bonds, your mind transcends limitations, your consciousness expands in every direction, and you find yourself in a new, great, and wonderful world. You gain strength, courage, and confidence by every experience in which you really stop to look fear in the face, and you must do the thing which you think you cannot do. And that was actually said by Eleanor Roosevelt. And Gandhi said, the enemy is fear. We think it is hate, but it's not. It's fear. So when we step back and examine our limiting beliefs, we can recognize that nothing can stand in our way of our goals and dreams. The only thing that stands in the way is us. And by remembering that fear is the acronym for false evidence appearing real, then we can step past it and become who and what we want to be and who we really are. So the components of anxiety, stress, fear, and anger do not exist independently of us in the world. They do not exist in the physical world, even though we talk about them as if they do. So we will embrace our faith in love, because love, of course, is God, our faith in our Creator, and fear then withdraws from our lives. So fear is a judgment that the universe is an unsafe place. Really? What are we doing here? So let's go back to the first question. What is the true opposite of love? It's judgment. And judgment, of course, brings about the fear. And this is the killer of love. So in Revelations, we can read about the last judgment. However, this is not the final judgment. What it really is talking about is the end of all judgment. There is no judgment in love. We stop judging other people when we realize that everyone else is us. The last judgment is the love within our own minds, our own hearts. So it's judgment that brings about all suffering. And this then is the source of our enlightenment. This is alchemy. It is turning our suffering into wisdom, into beauty, and the best of all things. And if you can hear that, that's our guinea fowl outside my window. Yes, they're walking by looking for food, enjoying the sunshine. So we choose all of what we see and experience. We take the pain, the suffering, the grief, and let's turn it to a purpose, which brings us to a state of wisdom and enlightenment. So, we've been taught that the last judgment is the most threatening idea in our thinking. And that's because we really don't understand it. Why? Because, I'm sorry, judgment is not an attribute of God. It was brought into being after the separation, when we thought we were separate from God, when we thought we were separate from love. And so when we learn that we are all one, this is one of the learning devices to be built into the overall plan. So this last judgment is a final healing rather than a punishment. And I know that many of you think, well, but I deserve punishment. No, you don't. You were created in innocence, in virtue, in love, in true spirit. That's who you really are. Punishment is not deserved. It's actually, punishment is a concept totally opposed to right-mindedness. And that's the aim of the last judgment, to restore right-minded to each one of us. The last judgment might be called a process of right evaluation. Simply means that everyone, absolutely every one of you, will finally come to understand what is worthy and what is not. And of course, you are worthy. And then after this comes the ability to choose, that we choose rationally. However, until we do that, we're not free. We are imprisoned in fear and in judgment. And also, when we look at the Last Judgment, it's not only frightening to us because we thought God was going to judge us. No, but also because we think of last with death. And this is really an example of upside down perception. So if we look at the meaning of the Last Judgment and it's objectively examined, that really it's apparent that the judgment is really the doorway to life, because no one who lives in fear is really alive. So our own last judgment cannot be directed towards ourselves because we are not our own creation. Who created us? Love. However, we can use it meaningfully and any time, because then it helps us to remember, okay, all that is creative and good. And that is what our right-mindedness dictates. The purpose of this time that we're spending here on earth is solely to give us time to achieve this judgment of health, of healing, of right-mindedness, of knowing that we are perfect, innocent creations of a loving God. So everything that we have within us is lovable, and there's no reason to fear at all. So what is the final judgment upon this world? It's the judgment of truth upon illusion, of knowledge on perception, and judgment has no meaning, and it really does not exist. And so, knowing this, we forgive the world we see. And then what we see is the real world. We forgive ourselves and we welcome love back into our lives. And when we do this, we come into balance. And rather than having to atone for faults with guilt, we are committed to promoting joy and to be of service. And how often I hear Jerry talk about that, of being of service. And to begin, that's what we originally came here to do. So I would like to kind of end this up with some perspectives of, was a group of 4 to 8 year olds. And what they were thinking of is, what is love? First one, when someone loves you, the way they say your name is different. You just know your name is safe in their mouth. And love is when you go out to eat and you give somebody most of your French fries without making them give you any of theirs. Love is when Daddy makes coffee for Mommy and he takes a sip before giving it to her to make sure that the taste is okay. And love is when Mommy gives Daddy the very best piece of chicken. And one little boy said, during my piano recital, I was on stage and I was so scared. And I looked at all the people watching me and I saw my daddy waving and smiling. He was the only one. And I wasn't scared anymore. And the last one, which I think is just so beautiful because it's what's coming up. Love is what's in the room with you at Christmas. If you stop opening the presents and you listen. So there it is. Let's look within and around. Listen. Love is what's left over when falling in love fades away, because love is an endless source. So let us give it away. We'll share our French fries. We'll give someone the best piece of chicken. We wave and smile to the universe. And then we will know what Victor Hugo meant when he observed, love is the reduction of the universe to a single being. So not only is love what's left over when falling in love fades away, but love defines the source from which we came. So Elizabeth Barrett Browning describes the end of life as a return to pure love. And she said it this way: "Guess now who holds thee?" "Death," I said. But then there was the silver answer that rang: "Not death, but love, my child." And so it seems that love is truly all that's left over when this body falls away as well. Namaste.
Beautiful, Susan. Thank you so much. I loved all of that. I really did. And it gives us so much to think about. And you know what? Here, all we thought opposite of love was fear and hate or something like that. You know what? It's a lot more than that. And it's a lot of things that we have to consider before we take any step forward. So does anybody else want to come up and say anything to Susan? I don't know why I keep forgetting where that is.
Thank you, Susan. I had to write this down because I need to carry this with me when I leave, and that is that truth, understanding, knowledge, and love rule against fear, hate, and judgment, so I can wave and smile at the universe for the rest of the day, at least. Thank you.
You do that with just being there. I mean, I just love your presence. Thank you for being who you are and what you are.
Thank you, Susan.
Those are wonderful words of wisdom, and we really do appreciate them. And I wish more people were here to see it, but I'm sure that they will see it on YouTube. But I'm telling you what, those are words of wisdom, and I hope everybody pays attention. I really do.
Harry, you know, the thing is this: it doesn't matter how many. What matters is,
That we share.
oh, I mean, everything's always in divine order. The people who are here are there to support me and love me, and I love each one of them. I'm so grateful that we have even been able to continue with fellowship, even in a small way, because even in our small way, we really are affecting the energy of the universe.
We are. That's very true.
Divine love, always.
Most definitely. Most definitely. Thank you very much for being here, and thank you so much for your words of wisdom. I really do appreciate you. And now we will have music from Margaret, which will be number 344 in the Brown Book. There's Joy in My Heart.
There is joy in my heart and a smile on my face, 'cause I love the world. There's a song on my lips like a whole human race, 'cause I love the world.
the spot, I don't know what would. Right in line.
And
with Mark. Thank you.
Jerry, I just want to thank Margaret for her choice of music. I loved it. Thank you so much.
She appreciates that, and thank you for noticing. We did too. It was a blessing, it really was. Okay, if you will take your celebration of abundance and place it over your heart and read with me, divine love flowing through me, identifies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive through infinity. I am prosperous. And we have our children with us. We have a large group of little girls. So if they would like to come forward, we would love to hear what you have to say. And they have their Sunday jeans on.
Today we worked on our international cards, and I'm gonna read, be our strength every morning, our salvation in times of distress. May the God of hope fill you all with joy and peace. May the God of hope fill you all with joy and peace as you trust in him. Romans 15:13. Today is Wanda's birthday. Can we sing happy birthday to her?
We can.
3.
Margaret? Does Margaret have music for us? Do you have happy birthday music for us, or are we gonna wing it?
Yeah, actually I do.
And whose birthday is it?
Rhonda's.
Rhonda's birthday.
really?
My daughter-in-law, that's true. Today is her birthday. She's been a blessing in my life. Always. Sometimes not easily, but always.
Okay, here we go.
Okay. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Rhonda. Happy birthday to you. Yeah, and many more. Thank you for reminding us of that. Thank you, ladies. Enjoyed hearing from you. International cards, are we? Okay. Bill usually does our closing, and he's not here today. He is in Elmora with his daughter. So I would like to read a little bit from you from Don't Sweat the Small Stuff, and it is all small stuff. Tell 3 people today how much you love them. Author Stephen Levine asked the question, if you had but 1 hour to live and could make only one phone call, who would you call? What would you say? And why are you waiting? What a powerful message. Who knows what we are waiting for? Sorry, my eyes are watering. Perhaps we want to believe we will live forever, or that someday we will get around to telling the people we love how much we love them. Whatever the reasons, most of us simply wait too long. As fate would have it, I'm writing this strategy to on my grandmother's birthday, or on my daughter-in-law's birthday. Later today, my father and I are driving out to visit her gravesite. She died about 2 years ago. Before she passed away, it became obvious how important it was to her to let her family know how much she loved us all. It was a grand reminder that there is no good reason to wait. Now is the time to let people know how much you care. Ideally, you can tell someone in person or over the phone. I wonder how many people have been on the receiving end of a phone call. The caller says, I just called to tell you how much I love you. You may be surprised that almost nothing in the world means so much to a person. How would you like to receive the same message? If you're too shy to make such a phone call, write a heartfelt letter instead. Either way, you may find that as you get used to it, letting people know how much you love them will become a regular part of your life. it probably won't shock you to know that if it does, you'll probably begin receiving more love as a result. So take that with you and remember it. And tell 3 people today how much you love them. Okay, thank you all for being here. Let's gather up. Yes, Rhonda.
I do have an announcement. As everybody knows, my husband and I own our own business. One of my crew members' brother, just passed away 3 or 4 days ago. They are doing a benefit lunch/dinner if anybody's interested. It is gonna be at 942 East Main. It's a $15 donation for the plate. And Anita, who runs a food truck here in Farmington, is donating all her food for it. They're gonna be serving red chili beef enchiladas and green chili chicken enchiladas. If anybody is interested in going by and picking up a plate of food,
It's today.
it is today,
What time?
between 1 and 5.
Between 1 and 5 today. $15 donation for red or green enchiladas at
942 East Main
942 East Main.
for the Gonzalez family.
For the Gonzalez family who have lost a dear member earlier this week. So if you get a chance, the food is excellent. I have to tell you, I've had it many times and it is very good. So if you know them, or even if you don't, you just want good food, please go by there. Thank you very much. Okay, let's gather up for our not very easily. Do I turn this, or does your phone take care of it?
I'll put my phone
Okay.
without touching it, but.
Okay.
This is the bad one? Okay, yeah, just do that. That way nobody's touching it.
God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with the light from above. From the mountains to the prairies to the oceans white with foam. God bless America, my home, sweet home. God bless America, my home, sweet home. Weave us together, weave us together in unity and love. Weave us together, weave us together in unity and yes, there is peace on earth and peace begins with me. Yes, there is peace on earth, a peace that was meant to be. With God as our Father, family all are we. So let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Yes, peace begins with me. Yes, this is the moment now. With every breath I take, let this be my joyous vow. To take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Yes, there is peace on earth, and yes, it begins with me.
May you have the blessed week that you deserve, and thank you for being here today. Bless you all. Amen.
Amen. I don't know how we lost lost all the,
I don't know how you do it. Do you have to click
Well.
on the phone?
you gotta have the right view to start with.